freaks? Maybe. Controlling? Certainly. While it may be difficult for them to admit, for the INFJ personality type, having control is one of the only ways they gain the most security and satisfaction from their surroundings. In fact, without a certain level of control, this normally calm and collected type can become, well, not so calm and collected. So, what's really behind their control freak label? Welcome or welcome back, psychos. Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into it. Starting with number 1. They already have a difficult time accepting the controllable. To put this first reason in simple terms, INFJs need control over the things they can control in order to cope with the things they can't control. With such deep and complex understandings of the world around them, this personality type is hit with the hard truth at a very early age that life is unpredictable, unfair, and doesn't always budge when you try to change its course. The INFJ has learned just how it feels to be helpless in a world of cruelty and injustice since they were children. In fact, through their extroverted feeling function and empathy that causes them to feel the emotions of others on a far deeper level, this sense of powerlessness is experienced much more intensely compared to the average person. And so, by navigating life with this buried sense of hopelessness for the uncontrollable, INFJs subconsciously cling onto the aspects of their life that they are able to influence in one way or another. Of course, this isn't always a healthy coping mechanism per se, but it does provide them a sense of peace that they aren't able to find elsewhere, without some serious self-work, that is. Number 2. They hate being controlled. In the perspective of the freedom-loving INFJ personality type, being considered controlling is far better than even being controlled themselves. For one of the main reasons INFJs show up with a boss-like attitude is for the simple fact that they don't want to necessarily comply with the rules set out should that role be assigned to someone else. INFJs, like others, know that they've got it covered and that they're willing to take the necessary steps to lead everyone to success, whether this is within a work, family, or friendship dynamic. INFJs want to be able to utilize their problem-solving skills and future predicting abilities so that they know for sure that things are adding up appropriately along the way. In fact, this is why this capable personality type is constantly trying to prove to others just how dependable they truly are. They can't succumb to the possibility of having to conform to opinions, rules, and solutions that they ultimately don't agree with. Which brings us to our next point. Number 3. They can't help but to be perfectionistic. If you're an INFJ yourself, you'll know just how grueling perfectionism can be when it comes to day-to-day life. According to psychologytoday.com, perfectionistic tendencies may be a result of a certain childhood trauma, which is something that most INFJs can relate to on different levels. Psychology Today explains, driven by a deep-seated belief of unworthiness or inadequacy, individuals may strive for perfection as a way to counteract or conceal their perceived flaws and vulnerabilities. While for some INFJs, this may in fact play a significant factor in their perfectionistic tendencies, their dominant introverted intuitive function may also play a role, providing them with continuously growing deep insights and strong visions for the future. They are constantly striving to align their actions and creations with their inner vision. This constant attempt at merging their inner world with their outer reality ultimately leads them to strive for a perfection that may only be attainable within the confinement of their own imagination. Not to mention, The introspection that comes as a result of this cognitive function also leads them to constantly evaluate and improve their work, making it near impossible to be satisfied with their own results. Number 4. They have an innate fear of failure. Speaking of perfectionism, this idealist can't fathom the thought of failing. Self-critical by nature, this personality type is always thinking of the best way forward, a way that will not only satisfy them, but also everyone they are secretly seeking approval from. Yeah, we get it. You INFJs may be thinking to yourselves, seeking approval from others? Not me. And for some mature INFJs, this may be true. But in reality, most people with this ruminating personality type can't help but to try their best to achieve certain milestones in life that will make those they look up to proud. Sure, they may happily own being the black sheep of their family, but they can't imagine the self-hatred that would come with being the failure of their family. They can't imagine disappointing their family, friends, or spouse to the point that they burden them with the responsibility of pulling them out of the hole they dug themselves into. They're always subconsciously wondering what people think of them, their choices, and their accomplishments. And while others' opinions wouldn't necessarily change their approach to life, it's within this constant rumination that they try to control the success of their lives. Number 5. They provide a middle ground point of view. Known to be the go-to person for their loved ones in times of mental or emotional disarray, this type earned themselves the name of the counselor personality of the MBTI for a reason. In a protective way, INFJs are always looking to put out the flame, calm the storm, and appease anyone in distress. In fact, this is such a natural instinct of theirs that just having their presence in the room normally has a calming effect on anyone involved. The reason INFJs are able to maintain such a demeanor is because it doesn't take them long to understand where things went wrong. Within just a mere few minutes of observing a conversation, INFJs can calculate where both parties are coming from, what factors contributed to their cause, and the best way forward. They take control of situations that nobody wants to or is able to take control over because they're amazing at providing a middle ground point of view. They use their logical minds to mediate the situation, while their empathy and sympathy provide its calming effects. Number 6. They're always looking to create harmony out of chaos. Providing free counseling services to friends and family sounds exhausting. So why are the INFJs so quick to offer their insights and mediation? Well, when INFJs sense disharmony within their surroundings, they ultimately can't look away. They are constantly striving for harmony within their relationships, environments, and within themselves. And while they may imagine that a fair amount to control would prevent conflicts, maintain peace, and have everyone around them holding hands and singing Kumbaya, it's just not the case. However, that doesn't stop the INFJ in their controlling ways, as striving for harmony and balance in a chaotic world is like maintaining a full-time job. A job that they can't quit if they want to feel mentally at ease. And this brings us to our last and possibly most important point. Number 7. They're emotionally invested in everything they do. INFJs have a confusing relationship with their emotional side. Known to be reserved when it comes to displaying emotions towards others, this type has been named emotionless, inexpressive, and passive when interacting with some of their social connections. However, the reality is that the INFJ personality type invests in their relationships and endeavors wholeheartedly. Although it may take them a while to get warmed up to people and projects, once they're hooked, they undoubtedly give it their all. This emotional investment is, of course, necessary. Yet it can also serve to be a major contributing factor to their rather controlling approach. Once the INFJ really cares about something, they become far more inclined to try and control its trajectory. This attempt of controlling outcomes is not only their way of showing that they actually care, but it's their way of avoiding their own emotional distress. For if something were to happen beyond their control, they would at least be able to tell themselves that they tried everything in their power to avoid it. Unfortunately, there's a fine line between this approach being effective and it backfiring completely. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, as an INFJ, do you think others would consider you a control freak? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.